Welcome back to the editing room. I am sitting here looking at the 2025 American Road Race of Champions video here, and well, I'm feeling compelled to give a little more background than I normally would. Um, it was a great race. It was a wild race. It was a classic multi-class situation where traffic played a massive role in our race specifically. I don't think we played a big role in anybody else's race, but traffic played a huge role in our race. And as such, I'm feeling a little compelled to give a little more explanation because I do get a little bit spicy a couple of times in both race 1 and 2. I'm probably going to put this at the beginning of both races. Yeah, I get a little bit spicy. I have a lot of big feelings that my body has trouble controlling. And yeah, well, you'll see. I just felt that I probably should come on beforehand and just let you know that you're going to see some stuff in here that I'm not strictly proud of, but I do believe is probably just a part of racing. Racing is a sport of passion, and I tend to drive with a lot of passion. And, well, my hands there's a lot of passion in this video. There's a lot of passion in this video. So viewer beware, viewer discretion, however that wants to go, however that goes for you. Let's jump straight into the racing. It's pretty good. There's a lot in this one. Welcome to beautiful Road Atlanta for the 2025 ARRC. We had some incredible weather and we had some pretty good racing as well. A couple of quick setup items here. Watch the mirror on the right side, okay? That's gonna play into this race a lot. The next thing is that orange and white Porsche is gonna play in immediately. And the last thing here is I led most of qualifying, and right at the end, Carter got me. So I'm actually starting second. To my right is Carter in a silver Mazda 2. Now, I would have gone to the right of this ITB car. You see me moving over there, but I wasn't sure if he knew I was there, was going to see me, and that didn't bother Carter not one little bit. So he dives in there, really last minute move, and I didn't really like it, but that's also going to come into play quite a lot during the next 2 races. So we're able to beat him up the hill a little bit because he got a terrible entry, which gave him a terrible exit. We're going to split this Miata. He's on the right of the Miata right now as I'm diving into the left, but this orange and white Porsche kind of backs him up in a big way, and so he's kind of forced to fall in line behind me, and I'm able to take the lead. Now watch this blue RX-7 right here in that truck. Watch that thing. Look at this. Oh, good gracious. That was a sketchy moment there. I saw the bottom of that truck. It was crazy. It was crazy. I saw the bottom of this truck, but anyway, we got through it in one piece. Everybody involved is totally okay. The truck did not make the rest of the weekend though. That ended his weekend for sure. So we got Carter is behind us. Chris Taylor is next behind him. And so we've had a crazy exciting start. We were able to get our lead back where we really want to be. And Carter, while there is a gap, he's back there. And well, we got a bunch of stuff to watch out for now, including a bunch of other classes. So there goes our friend in the orange and white Porsche. Don't worry, he'll be back before you know it. So the weather is cool. The track has full sun on it, so it's kind of warm, but it's pretty cool weather, so it's not really all that warm. And well, these opening laps are a little bit sketch. They were just a hair sketch because there's not a ton of grip, but it is a little bit warmer than it was during qualifying. Qualifying was rough, and practice on day 2 was really rough. But we got a little bit of grip in the car, and so we're able to work it a little bit. Now coming in from the left, our friend Justin Barbary has just made a mistake and kind of went off and re-entered, but we are now under double yellow, and you see me waving everyone off because I'm not sure who's paying attention, and you don't want to get 1 piled into, and 2, you really don't want to lose a spot. And so the big wave off, and there goes that truck on the right side. He wasn't able to continue. A little bit of a bummer for that guy to end his to end his weekend so instantly like that. But we are in one piece. We are into the race. We're leading, and we're feeling good. So the lights are out on the pace car. We're pretty sure we're going to get a green flag on this lap. And, well, this group is already speeding up, so we're doing what we can to stay caught up. Now, our race is behind us, so we're not too terribly concerned about being up front and really close to everyone else. As a matter of fact, I think that you kind of want to lay off a little bit and give them room to sort out, well, what you're about to see here. So it's my goal, with what's happening here, it is my goal to process as many cars behind me as I possibly can. None of these people are really very close to their race at all, and we're fighting for the first place. We're in the first place battle. So I just want to put as many cars behind me and Carter as I can. Now here in just a second, watch this left side. You're going to see one of those last minute lunges that I talked about, just the last possible second under braking. It's dangerous. You see me trying to get out of the way, and all of a sudden, right before turn in, I'm having to recalculate for there being a car there. I don't love that. I don't really like that move, and well, that's gonna add to some of the spiciness that you look at here in just a few minutes. So right there, that Miata with the blue top stuffed it up the inside and it left him a space, but he couldn't hold his track position, and he popped me pretty good in the right rear, and that also was pretty upsetting. I left him a space and he couldn't hold the spot, so he just drifted right out and punted me. I never actually got to talk to that driver after that. He put a big dent in the fresh quarter panel on that side and kind of interrupted my race a little bit and gave Carter a nice hole here. But we're going side by side. We're encouraging Chris Taylor to push us a little bit, and we're going to end up leaving Carter behind. But I want you to watch this right side mirror and watch yet another dive bomb, another problem. You see a movement right there. We lose sight of the group, and then right there we can see Carter kind of jumping in there. And that was another one of his late, super late break and kind of jerk on the wheel and dive for the inside. And it shoved that Integral way wide. And everybody just kind of scrambled to get out of the way to keep from being hit. And so I'm watching all that happen behind me. And frankly, just driving away, really hoping that that keeps happening so I can just drive away from the situation and keep leading this race. It is short-lived, though. It is short-lived. Chris Taylor was able to take the spot back away, and so that puts Carter back in third, Chris Taylor in second, and I am still leading the race. So right there, I'm giving the big thumbs up. Carter making a big mistake coming into turn 6, went way wide, lost a bunch of time. And so now it's just beating Chris Taylor for right now. And you see Chris Taylor diving on the inside there. That's to protect our race. Actually, he took it upon himself to block somebody in a faster class who had kind of been a problem before, holding us up a little bit. And so he dives the inside to protect, to keep that car from getting in. Because at this point, he knows he can catch up to me, and he's not too terribly worried about where he is on the track. I'm taking a guess. We didn't actually talk about this, but he's not too concerned. He knows he can catch back up using the draft, and right now it's just a 2-car race. It's just the two of us going at it. And so me as a driver, I know that it takes, you really want to find a drafting partner, but if it's a 2-car race in a B-Spec, it really doesn't matter. And so I now have to think about, is he going to push me or is he going to race me? And that's a question in my mind that's impossible to answer. It really is, because, you know, we like to have drafting partners, but in a 2-car race, it really doesn't matter. You're not drafting away from anyone, so who cares? just another dynamic to a race like this that is unique for B-Spec. And so you can see that we are in fact gaining on these cars in front of us, which is pretty concerning because what we're looking at here is much faster classes. They're going to drive away from us on the straightaways, but all the time that we're gaining on them is in the corners. And so if you get backed up, that lets the next guy behind you get right close to you, which is what we're going to see happen. And it's all part of the calculus. It's all part of like, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? And that's the blue RX-7 that was involved in the incident earlier with the truck. He was able to continue and get right back on track. Just a funny sort of story while we're waiting for the action to come back. You can see Chris is right on my tail again. I'm pretty sympathetic to the guy in that RX-7 because I got my license in one of those. I've got many hours in a car exactly like that. And let me tell you, they do not handle well. They are not easy to drive. They're not easy to make speed in, and they generally don't handle very well. They don't feel very good. It's a reciprocating ball steering system instead of a rack and pinion like most modern cars, and it does not feel good. So I'm generally pretty sympathetic to those cars. And so here's our first real sign of trouble. I knew that Porsche was going to hold us up, and I was preparing to throw it kind of up the inside on the turn exit here. But it didn't really work out. I've got Carter on my left. Chris Taylor made a move for the right before I could get really over there, but I was able to keep Carter behind me by moving to the left a little bit. Couldn't do anything about Chris, and so now we are in second place. And Carter does, again, last possible second, throw it up the inside there, and force me to kind of leave him a space. And here's where the first bit of spiciness comes out. All that frustration is built up over the last couple laps. And I'm not really happy with his driving. I don't really appreciate being dive bombed like that, and especially when it's just going to drive you off the track. And so we let him know that he's number one. And there goes that orange and white Porsche, pointing us all by some kind of mechanical problem, I assume, but he will be back. And well, anyway, we've seen the first bit of our big feelings, and we'll have a lot during this race. There will be more. And so something happened. I don't really know what happened, but Carter kind of faded into the background and kind of out of sight. And he lost our draft, which means he lost our draft, and he wasn't really any faster on his own than we were on our own. And so there's really very little chance for him to catch up unless we start making big mistakes, which generally we don't do. And so he kind of falls back a little bit and turns it back into a two-car race, but this time Chris is leading. And so the next couple laps, we just kind of put laps in. Same situation as the runoffs. Keep your head down, put your laps in, hit your marks, see what you can learn, and you kind of just have to wait and see what happens. In the meantime, this is a traffic-filled race. Already, traffic has had massive impacts on our race. And some of that is just the way multi-class racing goes. And it was interesting. I felt myself kind of thinking, wow, I haven't had a race like this in a very long time. as we're kind of going through it, I was feeling all this frustration and all this sort of like, oh, I didn't expect that, surprises and all these kinds of things. And when it would calm down in moments like this, I'd think to myself, man, I haven't felt this in a really long time. It's interesting how different the race is when there's traffic involved, as opposed to like, at the runoffs, we were running by ourselves. There was no traffic. The only traffic were people you were competing with, and that is a notably different feeling than what we've got here, which, here we go. Traffic impedes the race. Once again, there's another mechanical issue there, but it held Chris up just enough on corner exit to let me kind of pull up next to him here. And well, now we've got a drag race. We're coming into turn 6. I got to leave him space here. So we brake, turn in, leave a space on the inside, try to get back to throttle super, super early to make it fast through here and see if we can use our horsepower. Nothing beats the Mazda 2 off that corner. Turn 7, the Mazda 2 is unbelievable. But again, just like runoffs, horsepower is our weapon. That's the only thing this car really has in its tackle box is horsepower. And so we need to use it to the best of our ability. Now that's a faster, quote unquote, faster car. He also is going to pop up a little bit later on, so keep in mind, yellow DA Integra, silver DC2 Integra, and white and orange Porsche. I think it's a 944. It might be a 9. No, I think it's a 928. I think it's a 944. I guess it could be a 924. I don't really know. Either way, you know what it looks like. So as you watch the draft work for Chris here, look at him. Look in that right side mirror. The way he gains, man, that draft is so powerful. And it's right around here where I'm thinking, is he going to push or is he going to pass? Because he could challenge coming down into turn 10 here. I decide that he hasn't in the past. He hasn't yet. And so I'm going to keep my line and maximize my exit by maximizing my entry. But that's part of the calculus. That's part of what I'm thinking about is this the lap where he tries it? Is this the lap where he tries it? And that is the part that makes racing hard. And man, it's the part that I love the most. It's so much fun. I will never be a pointy end qualifier. I'm just not a raw time guy. It is simply not part of my calling. But I love the racing. I love the chess match. I love the calculus that's involved in the racing. I just love it so much. Now, we're rolling right into our next incident. That cloud of smoke, this car on the left, watch what he does here. That's that DA and that yellow Integra. All the way across the track, slams on brakes. I mean, it's just insane. I did go talk to this driver afterwards and we had some words. It seemed like he had no idea anything had happened. I said, hey, when you go off track, you don't get to come back on track. You have to wait. Okay, you almost took out, there were 3 other cars behind me. You almost took out 3 cars behind me because you came across track and stepped on the brakes. You can't do that. And he just kind of went, it was like, oh, I didn't know. He kind of, it seems like he just didn't even know anything had happened. But that was a really exciting moment. It's a huge bummer for everyone involved, but it did get me yet another massive gap to Chris behind me. So I'm cruising around by myself. There's a couple of wild cards behind me now with that Integra, but wow, I'm cruising around by myself because the rest of the team, or the rest of the race, is kind of falling back. And I know, geez, more spiciness. I actually forgot about this one. Yeah, look, that was a really dangerous move. That was an incredibly bad idea, and the frustrations in this race are just building and building. So anyway. The gain on that fella is unbelievable, what you're looking at right here. Oh, and right here up on the right side, this other ITA Integra acted like he wanted to pull up next to me, so I left him a lane, and he didn't take it. That's also a pet peeve of mine. If you're going to show your nose, especially in a faster class like this, if you're going to show your nose in an appropriate place like that, you really need to take the spot. You need to commit and go for it, because otherwise you're just slowing us both down quite a lot. But not as much as this. Yep. He's in the way in the slow parts. Chris is right back in our mirrors again, and he has the horsepower to drive away, and he has no problems. We are left with all of the inconveniences and problems caused by him. And some of this multi-class racing, but man, messing up the top step of the podium battle, because you can't go through a corner, it's pretty upsetting. And I was having, like I said, a lot of big feelings. A lot of big feelings. Regrettable for sure. And so here I'm protecting from Chris, because he does pull out when he doesn't really need to. So he pulls to the left there, not sure what his intentions are. And so I'm protecting. I need to protect my lead. That hurts my exit to the point where he is able to pull up on our right. And so now we got to decide, are we going to go full throttle? What are you kidding me? Of course we are. We're going full throttle. We're not going to give it up. But that was just enough. We have just enough power to pull out a little bit so that he kind of is forced to get back behind us, and we live to fight another day. But what that also does is that shows us that even if we protect the line into 10A, Chris has that Mazda has enough leave the corner ability that he can pull alongside us, headed up to the bridge, and that's a problem. That's a problem that I am now thinking about. How do I solve this? How do I keep this from happening again? He's shown he can do it one time. He can absolutely do it again, and it's my job to keep him from doing that. So you're going to see me make a new gesture, but this one is out of kindness. If you look way ahead of us, that yellow car right there, he's got a problem, and I need to move over. But Chris was so buried in my bumper that I don't know what he can and can't see, and I would hate for him to hit that car because he can't see it when I move out of that lane. And so I'm waving him over. Hey, we have to move over, because I would hate that. Now, the silver Integra is in front of us. Pay attention to how quickly he drives away from us once we get on throttle. Obviously, we got a bunch of mid-corner on him, but watch how quickly he drives away. And also, the white flag comes out, and I'm on comms. I hear the checker came out right behind us, and I misunderstood the call and thought to myself, well, I thought that was the white flag, and I downshift into third while I'm thinking about that, and that gives Chris just enough of a run up this hill that we are now going to go through turn 3 side by side. I've got horsepower, so I can pull back on him some. Now we're going to go through 4 side by side. I leave him space. I hope that he leaves me space, and now we're leading up to 5, where we're going to go through turn 5. side by side again. He's able to carry a little bit more speed. He runs a little bit wide, and I am forced to fall in behind him. But this is the white flag lap. It's all on the table. It happens now, or it doesn't happen at all. And he knows that. And so he has, well, I made a mistake. He made his move, and, well, this here's the result. We got to hope that we can take it back under the draft, because, again, horsepower is all we got, so that's what we have to use. We're gonna make a challenge. I couldn't decide if I should pop out on the left or the right. We're gonna make a challenge on the right. We've got a hell of a head of steam on him, but the brakes are so good on that car, and I just can't keep it. Entering 10A while leaving a lane on the inside because I didn't quite get the pass done on the straightaway blows the whole thing for me, and I'm just not able to take it back. And so we cross under the checkered flag in second place. So look, that was a hard-fought battle. That was a real race with a lot of really complicated factors involved. Second place is not bad. I am not too terribly upset about second place. I do think that I had the car and the drive for first, but I can't be too upset about second place. That was a great race. It was really exciting. Parts of it were really upsetting, and I let everyone around me know that I was upset. But it was a great race. It was a really good race. I want to go back to the white flag for just one quick second here. So I crossed under the white flag, and apparently directly behind us was the leader, and they dropped the checkered flag immediately after Chris and I passed the start stand. And so on my radio, my communicator, what I heard was, I heard something about a checkered flag, and I paused for a second and went, wait a minute, did I win? I thought that was the white flag. And that was enough of a brainwave interruption to get me to downshift into third. I had tried it earlier in the race, and it slowed the car way too much, so leaving it in fourth is the way to go for turn one. But that just slight and super quick lapse in concentration is what it took for me to fall into that old habit, shove it in third, and immediately go, oh, no, we're still racing. That was the white flag for sure. Back to fourth gear, but that was enough for Chris to have that handful of mile per hour lost was enough for Chris to take the lead back again. And that was it. So that just shows how it can look casual, and it can even look slow, but it is absolutely not casual. There's a lot of thought going on. And well, we ended up second in race one, and it was a great race. Race one coming soon. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and let me know what you think about my antics. Let me know if it's too much. Let me know if you think they're justified or unjustified. I did have a good race. It may not look like it, but I did enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching. Race two coming soon.